nuclear power company. And so, you know, there's certain emissions, natural gas emissions from the generators. They're, you know, they're thankfully small compared to other types of emissions.
Just take time to see if members of the county council have any questions they'd like to address these gentlemen. Any thoughts on what presented so far?
If we give you the criteria, do you think the citizens would like, you know, like preserving the quality of life and the rural character of the community and the direction of growth? What could you do to help us with that?
So that's usually where we start, is what do people want? And you may have already done a lot of that. What are the goals that people want to achieve?
We already know.
And then the way we tend to look at the scenarios is, okay, let's measure the outcomes of those scenarios that are things that people care about. So if it's, you know, if air quality is something that's important here, then that's something we ought to measure.
Well, being the quality of life.
Right, absolutely.
The next step here is you guys to give a proposal with a budget that we go between the cities and the county and the towns and decide if we want to go forward. Is that where we go next?
If you're interested, you're happy to put together a scope and a budget and you can discuss. Yeah, absolutely.
I always have to check out your track record. You've given us several examples here, and I appreciate that. But since you are having your 20-year anniversary, the models that you created a decade ago, 15 years ago, how accurate are they for today? The growth that you projected back then.
Well, so that's a really interesting question. So the models have been evolving, and they're definitely getting much better. We used to refer to them as the black box, right? And so they've definitely gotten better. We are constantly, like just for this point in the mountain, we just upgraded travel demand models, and there's also we were just talking about upgrading our land use models. So we're always trying to be on cutting edge. And so I could say, at first they were not all that accurate.
Or were they low volume growth back in, you know, 97, 2000? I mean, sure, we knew the Olympics were coming.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, were your models back then low volume growth, or were they higher than what the growth has really happened?
So what we typically do for the growth projections is we take the state's projections and use those. Actually, the projections back then turned out to be about right.
Really?
Yeah.
The governor's office, and we got those projections from the governor's office of planning and budget. Just this week, MC Gardner policies, you probably saw in the paper, they released brand new, and that's, unless it proves not to be accurate, that's probably the projections we'll use. It seems like they've got the political support, the buy-in from most of the parties, so we'll shift to using those.
And now, so the overall projections were about right. They projected more in Salt Lake County and less in Utah County than what actually happened.
Oh, yes, and we know what's happening there. Did you model air quality back then?
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah.
But before my time.
How'd that go? You answered my question.
So this is, and so part of this is not us running the model. This is the Department of Environmental Quality. So we rely on a lot of different state groups too. And so,
Yeah, for example, on transportation here, we rely on UDOT and Mountain Land Association of Governments to help a lot with the travel demand modeling here.
that's right. So the models are getting better, but they're still just models. We often refer to them as one tool in a box of tools to make a good decision. If you lean too heavily just on the model, you'll probably take a mistake.
I'd love to look at your variables. I don't know how many you have for your model. I need to look at those because, you know, that's where it really is to go.
Absolutely.
If your variables are accurate and you're measuring.
Assumptions going in make all the difference in the world.
Given that the governor's body is how much cooperation and maybe even advance can we get? For example, I'll give a specific that I think is very important to this community. We've been working on a bypass. I think we've finally got them to survey where it needs to be so we can really actually plan toward it. But for numbers on how much a bypass will help, how much it really will direct traffic, what are our flows. We have a model from Park City to Provo that uses Main Street that's 10 years old, I think, and that's the best information we have. So, for example, as you got one of the state's stakeholders that can give us the information we need, maybe even without Envision, if I can be so bold. But I mean, are all the state agencies bought into helping with this concept?
I believe so. We're very good. We obviously have UDOT, UTA, the governor's office is on our board. We have a very good relationship with head of UDOT, Carlos Caceres. Anything you want to add to that? We have very good relationships with them, and our business is critical. It's critical that we maintain those.
Do we have the audience have a question, please, gentlemen?
I'd like to know,
We need it on the recording, don't we?
Maybe stand up if you area to announce your name.
I'd like to know, my name's Perry Rosen, I'd like to know how much of this, this seems like to me, this is just a high price, and I'm not trying to let anybody down, but it seems like to me maybe this is a high price planning commission. Do we already have this in place with our people in the county and the city, and maybe we're not working close enough together with them people to maybe start to develop this instead of spending $200,000 to $300,000? My question is if we're going to envision this and get that plan in place, do we need to continue having planning commissions, and is that a budget saving item? Because I think we've got to have a planning commission, but yet I think that that's kind of what this might be. Am I right?
I've never thought of it that way, to be honest with you. So,
Yeah, this is, I don't know that planning commissions are well set up to do this kind of thing, public workshops and modeling different outcomes and so on. They tend to be more set up to evaluate an application that comes in, for example. So at the end of the day, they weigh in on the general plan. But
but I think other than Cottonwood Heights now, I think about my planning commission. Most of them, have a day job and they do something very different during the day, but have some interest. They're not necessarily an expert, but have an interest in planning. So,
Tony?
So I know earlier this year we were talking about $20,000 that we got in my department is for some type of vision process. This is what I had in mind, and Envision Utah was probably one of the groups I was going to go look to see if they could help us do that. As far as the workshops, the community involvement, I don't know what organization can do what they've done. Certainly staff and $20,000 with a private consultant won't touch what they've talked about here. So if you're really serious about getting the public engaged and trying to find out what they want, which I've heard a lot of you say, we want openness, we want transparency, we want to be inclusive of the public. Something like this would be a good thing to do that. Certainly, once the analysis is done and it gets in your hands, you've got to make tough decisions. You implement what has been recommended, or you throw it on the shelf. There's going to be some hard choices that are going to be put before you that you may not like. You may find that the community is split, and as much as you want to please 100%, you'll only please 50%, and maybe it just makes sense to put it on the shelf. But if you really want to have the visionary process that Clean, I think you talked about a few months ago, this is what that would do.
The thing as far as, the pieces, it all comes together and everybody's had input. That's great. Hopefully every political entity will cooperate, but obviously if we have one division, another city across the way has a different, the county different, it's never going to work. So, because it isn't a group that has any authority in those areas, I guess we just have to see as it comes together. But
Well, I've been involved with Envision Utah since its inception around '97, I think. And their approach is different. I think that what they're trying to do is I guess, keep the state from creating strong regulations and having a top-down approach to educating communities and involving communities to do proper planning so that the state doesn't, so that we don't end up like Oregon with really strong top-down approach. This is really a bottom-up grassroots approach that they've tried to do, and it's been a public-private partnership, and it's meant, I think a lot of the things that you hear the word choice a lot. That's what it's about. It's not about coming back to you and saying, you have to do this or that. It's about trying to find out what your citizens would like to do.
could I address to you, Tony, Perry's comment? How much, I know we had a joint city-county meeting, and you met with the county planner a time or two, and then I'm starting to hear that what they come up with, or the committee come up with, you're trying to produce one that's your own version for our city. I guess I'd rather you comment on theirs and what we need to change so that we can get involved as far as policy. But my question is, how much really has gone into city, us, Midway, Charleston, Daniel, meeting together with the county and doing any of this together? I haven't heard of much of it except this very recent effort.
Well, the closest thing was when we entered into we conducted a feasibility study for open space, an acquisition through a PDR program a couple years ago. We also, with Mountain Lands AOG, did a regional trails plan. But as far as something comprehensive like this, nothing.
Well, and I'm just this because it involves planning, but I think I'm going to address the whole city-county issue. Why are we chip sealing the road right where the parade route's going to be that week? I mean, those things are terribly frustrating to me. I mean, it's not your issue, I guess, but it's certainly a city issue.
Yeah, I appreciate the comment on this.
Well, okay, but it's apropos of the discussion.
We worked with the county and I found that.
Well, and I guess to get to, to answer Perry's question, yeah, we'll certainly still need a planning commission. And I guess really, if you're wanting to know what the citizens want, this is probably the best tool that you have out there. Otherwise, you're relying upon the staff that you have and the limited technologies that we have to throw out a survey or cross our fingers that somebody reads the utility bills and might be interested in telling us what they think.
Thank you.
So,
Brian, you have anything else to present to us?
I don't, but thank you for your time, Council Mayor, Council, thank you for your time. To your point of a scope and a budget, we're happy to put something together and let you guys consider.
I think what you can do that for us and kind of look it together, and our council, look at it, maybe the county can talk about their council and see if we want to come together on this.
I just want to add just a few thoughts. The question was raised, what if the cities and the county don't agree? The great thing about Utah is we do a pretty good job of collaborating together and coming to consensus. And so I don't know that we've had a project yet where people haven't generally come to consensus. You have some outliers, but and one other thought I wanted to add was we talked a lot about the workshops. Last 10, 15 years, we've also gotten pretty good about the online outreach because there are only certain other people who will come to a workshop in person, but there are a lot of people who will give their input online as well if they can't make it to the workshop.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate your time. Good job.